budget forwards and which Spurs attacker should you go for? These are questions I've put to the FPL experts ahead of game week 9 with 4 free transfers and an injury issue for Saka which is ongoing in the squad. Help me get this one to 500 likes and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. Starting off then by having a look at the best defender picks in the game, priced at 4.5 million and under. A little bit of popularity for Nottingham Forest defenders, Moreno getting 8% of the votes and Milenkovic on 17% of the votes. Forest are a side that are being consistent in terms of getting those results, not scoring loads of goals but not conceding a lot either. But the appeal of Wolves wingback Rayan Ait-Nouri is clear now. 4.4 million, 75% of the experts think that he is the best budget defender in the game. The fixture swing is there now for Wolves. Ait-Nouri is playing advanced, high up, and one of the most attacking defenders in the game. So now is the perfect time to be thinking of bringing him in. Moving on now to have a look at the best budget forwards in the game. These are forwards priced up to 6.5 million, and it feels like a price bracket which is pretty well covered at the moment. We saw Brentford's Yohan Wissa return to the matchday squad last time out. He gets 8% of the votes. He's still got great fixtures, and we know that when he gets a string of starts in the side, he is a good form pick as well. Thinking of that Wolves fixture swing as well, Matheus Cunha gets 17% of the vote and is one to keep an eye on. With attacking returns in the last 5 game weeks, that's 5 attacking returns in 5 starts, Raul Jimenez takes 25% of the vote here. But out in front with 5 goals in 8 games this season, it's Nottingham Forest Chris Wood, who is on penalties as well, with Morgan Gibbs-White out injured. He's making a mockery of his price tag at the moment. That consistency, he has got the underlying numbers to back that up. Only Erling Haaland and Cole Palmer have scored more Premier League goals than Chris Wood since Nuno took over at Nottingham Forest. Now, I also asked the experts for their favourite Spurs attacker. Now, things have changed a little bit in the week with news that Son wasn't part of training. Obviously, Spurs do play tonight. I'm recording this video on Thursday in the Europa League, so that's something to keep an eye on, is those midweek minutes. Brennan Johnson gets 17% of the votes, but out in front it is Son with 83% of the votes. The big question is he first choice on penalties? He was last season, but the arrival of Solanke could change things up. But, you know, it's highly viable given Spurs' form and fixtures to look at doubling up on that Spurs attack, and Son and Johnson looks like the perfect combo right now. Solanke not as attractive given his current form. Maddison a little bit of a minutes risk. Kulusevski maybe just not got the same output as these two either. Checking in on the community standings then, the community team is 65th place in the league with only 439 points. Let me know in the comments to this video whether you can beat the community team. There is some changes in the top 10. Mahmoud Al-Zubi, the Arabic FPL YouTube account, goes back into top spot, largely helped by only Mo Salah, knocking FPL tips down. Both of them in the top 1k in the world, which is so impressive. FPL Zlatan, FPL Aiden and Gian, all with big scores this week to take them above FPL Mez, who drops down, as does FPL Juice Ash, FPL Updates and Tips, and Rich FPL, with FPL Tactics back into the top 10 for the first time in a while. So let me know if you would get into this top 10. Have you had a very good start to the season? And let's hope it can continue. Let's have a look at how the experts fared in game week 8 then. We had 3 free transfers for this one. Did consider going from Diaz to Johnson, but ultimately Roll was the favoured choice. It didn't really matter too much anyway, but yeah, pretty dreadful game week. A goal from Rodgers and a goal in the final game from Chris Wood somehow rescued 30 points, but it was a red arrow. We had Rico Lewis coming off the bench for Bukayo Saka, who missed out with injury. Our sub-goalkeeper Flecken outscored Raya, and that makes an interesting conversation now going into game week 9 when, of course, Arsenal host Liverpool at home. Can we be in a situation where we bench Raya. Well, it is something that the experts are considering. So, yeah, languishing around the 4 million mark, but we are only 8 game weeks into the season. We're not even a quarter of the way through. And with 4 free transfers, there's maximal flexibility going forward. So let's have a look at the transfer plans now for the experts. As I mentioned then, 4 free transfers, nothing in the bank though. All of the experts voted to make transfers this week, with 2 free transfers used, the most popular outcome. Looking at the players to make way, well, it's obvious here. Saka, who remains an injury doubt for game week 9, where Arsenal entertain Liverpool. 83% of the experts think that he is now a sell. Luis Diaz as well, who's clearly lost his place to Gakpo in the Premier League. 2/3 of the experts voting that he should also be transferred out. The other players with minimal transfers out, Trent, 25% of the vote here. Obviously, he would free up funds given that we've got nothing in the bank. Greaves, with an injury doubt. Semenyo, maybe too expensive a first sub at the moment, and Gabriel, who hasn't got the fixtures. They're more of the make weights to free up the funds without making those 2 frees in midfield. But it is likely to be the midfield where we go, because when we look at the transfers in, these are the popular acquisitions, all of these getting over 10% of the vote. There were others as well. 13% liking the look of Alejandro Garnacho ahead of a nice run of fixtures for Manchester United. We also see Rayan Ait-Nouri with 13% of the votes. A big downgrade in defence to him does allow funds further forward. But those midfield transfer targets, Johnson with 25% of the vote, Son with 33% of the vote, and Palmer with 50% of the vote. So pretty conclusive that Palmer has to come in this week, and potentially another midfielder to add to the ranks as well going into game week 9. Let's have a look at how this team lines up then. So question marks already in the goalkeeper slot. Do we play Flecken at home to Ipswich or Raya at home to Liverpool? Well, the experts have voted to bench Raya and play Flecken, which is something we need to take note of. Greaves obviously red flagged, so just a 4 defence to choose from. We are going with the back 3. So we've got Trent away at Arsenal, Porro away at Crystal Palace, Lewis at home to Southampton, with Gabriel on the bench at home to Liverpool, benching both of the Arsenal defensive double up here, which is interesting to take note of. Into the midfield, we've got Mbeumo at home to Ipswich and Rodgers at home to Bournemouth, with Semenyo on the bench, and in come Brennan Johnson for the trip to Crystal Palace and Cole Palmer for Chelsea's home game against Newcastle United. And then it's a front 3 of Calvert-Lewin at home to Fulham, Chris Wood away at Leicester, and Erling Haaland at home to Southampton. Now, when it comes to captaincy, the experts were unanimous once again to give Haaland the armband. 17% did vote for the triple captainship, which is something worth taking note of, but the majority didn't want to play a chip this week, so it's likely that that remains in place for another day. If you found this video useful, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well. No press conference stream tomorrow because I am on the Premier League's fantasy show and I'm recording the Sky Sports News FPL show as well, and then travelling home from London. But I will be live at 5:30 p.m. UK time, 1 hour before the Game Week 9 deadline for the deadline stream. So make sure to hit the notify button for that one. Thank you for watching.